báwo ni o ṣe wà? So hi fashion lovers, welcome back to my channel. In today's class we'll be looking into how to take an accurate body measurement. As I said, what really gives your clothes a good perfection is you taking an accurate body measurement and placing it on the table and giving it correct cut. So what are the important measurements we're talking about? So before we dive into that, my name is SYDDY'S. I'm a fashion entrepreneur and also a business coach. So I have different classes. I have a sewing classes, I have a tailoring materials class, I have a personal class, I have beginners class. Any class, I'll drop my number there so you can chat me up if you have anything to say. So what are the basic measurements we needed? Important measurements you need. All measurements are important. I will tell you that all measurements are important. So we have our vertical measurements and our horizontal measurements. So we're talking about vertical. What do we mean? We mean our length measurements. Our length measurements could be the full length measurement. Are you getting me? The half length measurement from your shoulder to your half length, from your shoulder to your knee, your gown length, your skirt length. Are you getting me? Your hip line, your waistline. Those are the vertical measurements. If we're talking about horizontal measurements, we mean the circumference, the wideness of your body measurement. When you take your tape round like this, you are taking your your horizontal measurement, which is your vertical measurement, the circumference measurement. So what are the necessary measurements and how do we take those measurements? That's what we are going to be doing now. How we are going to take our measurements. So we have our model here who is we are going to use as experiment to explain more better about the measurements. One of our students here in SYDDY'S apparel, so we want to use her as our model. So first thing first, this is the shoulder. As you can see that our shoulder is not always straight, it is curvy. So when you want to put your tape, don't put your tape here. It will reduce your measurement. Put your tape here. Are you getting me? So this, if you are measuring the length, you take your tape from here. Make sure it's crossing the breast, not here. When you're measuring your length, make sure it's crossed the breast. You take it like this. Then you take it full length, and you ask the person, is he wearing a gown? If it is a pencil gown, most pencil gowns stop at the ankle side of your leg, the ankle side. But some, you might do it if you want to have slits. You can do it to the full length. You can do it that way. If you are sewing a jumpsuit, a pencil jumpsuit, you have to stop at your ankle side here. But if you are saying a palazzo jumpsuit, you have to make it long so that you have much fitting. So if you want to measure your client, there are some questions you will need to ask her. Please, do you want it to flow? If it is a gown that needs to be flow, let's ask her. Flow, dada. Are you wearing high heel? If you don't ask all these questions, there are some pots you get after doing the work. So you have to ask them, do you want it to flow? Some people will say, show me flow, and if you don't do it to flow, you are doing it to your own face. It's another thing. So you ask them, do you want it to flow? If you are sewing clothes for old mamas and you put it, if you let it to go down, one point. They will tell you that if they are using 58, they will tell you put it 55. Are you getting it? So you have to note those things. So another thing, you've measured the length. Okay, now let's measure the skirt length. Just let's go like that. The skirt length. You ask the person, ma, where do you normally put your skirt? Most people that have tummy, they like putting their skirt on the tummy. Why? They want the skirt to press their stomach a little, because when you put your skirt on the tummy and you have a stomach, there's a kind of firmness it gives to your skirt. Are you getting me? So ask them, is it on top of the navel or the lower abdomen? We have the upper abdomen and we have the lower abdomen. So you ask them, it is where the person says she wants it. That's where you put your tape. Then you take it down. If it is a short skirt, we have short skirts. We have short skirts, like a bomb short. We have. Ask the person, is it okay here? Make sure they say it's okay. Don't do your own satisfaction. Is it okay here, ma'am? If it is short skirt, you measure it. Some skirts, it is on top of the knee. Some skirts are before the knee. Some skirts are on top of the knee. Why some are below the knee? Why some are 3/4? If it is, let's use our tape measure to do that. This is, let's say we are starting from here. This is under before the knee, on top of the knee, below the knee. 3/4. 3/4 is before the, I don't know, in Yoruba, I don't know, you can tell me in English. Before the, all right. So you can just measure it before the before that place, yeah. So if it is straight one, you measure it to, if it is pencil, you measure it to the ankle side. If they want it long, you measure. You can even tell them, please, can you please raise up a little, raise your leg a little. So you do like as if they are putting on the high heel. Are you getting me? So that's that about the skirt measurement, the length. If you are measuring the length of your skirt, and also if it is an high waist skirt, okay, you are saying for a person that has flat tummy. You're not talking about people that have tummy. If it is an high waist skirt, you make sure, or high waist trousers, make sure it starts from where the high waist is. Okay, let's say the normal skirt length is 22 and you want to sew an high waist. You have 3 inches. If you measure from here to where the abdomen starts, you see, look, it will be like 3 inches. You understand? If you don't, okay, just add 3 inches. It should be okay. Are you getting me? So you make sure you take the tape from where they want the skirt to be. Are you getting me? That is for the length of the gown, the length of the skirt too. So we want to talk about the half length measurement. If you want to measure your half length, you take your tape here. Okay, let's talk about the nipples point first. Make sure it's not that you be pressing the nipple, auntie, but the nipple, it's not like that. You yourself should know, sight it. You are a woman like her, so you should sight it. Where the nipples point is, you put it there. As you can see, it is 9 inches. So on the bust, you can see it. So you put it, the underbust, if you are thinking where you put the underbust be. If the, you know, as I said in my last video, if your client is putting on a packed bra, you definitely know where the underbust is. So there's always a wire, under wire at the underbust side. So you put your tape at the under wire to get the perfection. Because if you are sewing a padded and you don't get the accurate measurements of the underbust, it gives problem. Are you getting me? So you have to get the underbust measurements very well. So after we talk about the half length measurement. And another thing I want to tell you about this length of the thing is our front half length is different from our back half length, especially when you're sewing for a busty person. Are you getting me? When you're sewing for the person that has a bust, the half length of the person that has a bust, iwaju lè jẹ́ 19. The front might be 19 inches, while the back may be 16.5 or 17 inches. It happens. It's not that it happens, so that's the normal thing. Just try it, measure them. If you want to measure the back length, take your tape. You can just take a rope. Can I get a tape? So you can just take a rope or a tape to tie it on your client's body. You do it this way. Are you seeing me? You tell the person to turn. You take your tape through. You measure. You can see. You can see our half length. Your back half length is 13.5. Are you seeing it? Then you see our front half length. Our front half length is what? 15. Are you seeing the difference now? Don't say this won't. Koloma jump line. It's a lie. It is a lie. These are something we've tested and it really works. Before we don't know, that was old time. But now it's working. You can try it too. If you try it and it doesn't work for you, use another method. Are you getting me? So the front half length, especially when you're sewing for a busty person, the difference is always like 3 inches sometimes. So you should look into that. The back half length and the front half length is what is different. So aside from that, we have our hip line measurement. So if you are sewing a skirt, you can just put your tape. You understand? You can just put your tape where the skirt length is starting from to where the hip line is. You can see ours is what? 8 inches. Are you getting me? Also, we have our knee length measurement. If you are sewing for a person like her, whether she's sewing a pieces gown, the knee length measurement is always between 7. For her, 17 should be okay. But the knee length measurement is in between 17, 18, 19. Whereas for a person that is very tall and she has hip, you can use 20. Are you getting? But anything going away from that, I don't know. You understand? Because sometimes if you even measure the knee length again, some knee length measurement will be here. When the person is wearing the clothes, I don't know, she will not be able to move her leg very well. Are you getting me? So the knee has to be free. Because if the person doesn't have pipe, the person wants to climb by, you consider that too. Are you getting me? So that is that about the hip line. I've talked about the half length. We've talked about the knee length measurement. Also, we talked the half length, the hip line, the knee length measurement, the skirt length measurement, and the gown length measurement. So I think we understand that. Also, we have the sleeve length, part of the vertical measurement. We have the sleeve length measurement. When you are measuring your sleeve, make sure you measure perfectly. And this is the shoulder length of you measure the shoulder. Oh, this place from here, there's one bone here. From that bone here to another bone here, that is your shoulder or your back measurement. From one bone here to another bone here, that is your shoulder or back measurement. Don't think that, okay, everybody back measurement is 15, 16. No, there are some people that their back measurement, they might be horrible, but their back might not be wide. Are you getting me? Their back, some people will measure back. I see measurements that back measurement 21. When your back measurement, when the joining of here, when it is here, the fitting, I don't know, the fitting is not there anymore. So you have to measure your back measurement and get the accuracy. Are you getting? Like her now, she's wide. You can see the way I place my tape rule. You can see. Are you getting me? Okay, she's my younger sister. She's using 16. Me, I'm the other, I'm using 15. So don't use age or whether somebody is wide to calculate our back measurement. You have to see, it is always good and it saves you problems to take an accurate body measurement. And also, there's something we also call the arm eye. You see, you measure it here. You can measure this too. You can measure it. The arm circumference of a client, you can measure it, especially those that are fat. Those that are fat. So those that has a, what do they call it? Christian mother hand. You have to measure it, or else if they wear the clothes like this, it will be too tight here. So you have to measure them. Take the measurement. Measure the circumference. Move your tape. Don't let it to be too loose or too tight. Make sure one of your fingers is entering it. Are you getting it? Make sure it's entering it. So if it is long sleeve, you measure the curve. So I'm talking about the sleeve. So this is the length of the sleeve from your shoulder here to here. Or you tell the client to do his or her hand this way. You can simply take it this way. This gives you the accuracy too. This is 23. Are you getting me? We have this long sleeve. We have the short sleeve. We have the cap sleeve too. Your cap sleeve comes between 4 or 5 inches. So we have the normal sleeve, the short sleeve, 7 inches. You measure it here. You measure it here. You measure your half sleeve here. You measure your 3/4 sleeve here. You can see the shape before the tiny hand starts. You understand? So you measure it like that. Are you getting it? So that is about the sleeve length. And also each of where you want the sleeve to stop, make sure you are measuring what? The circumference, which is the curve of the sleeve. Are you getting? Make sure you are measuring the circumference, which is the curve of the sleeve. So aside from that, we have our upper bust, our bust, and our under bust. Which one is our upper bust? Before the bust, around this chest line here. So you take your tape like this. You measure it. Make sure it is tight. All these ones are well. This measurement goes for tube. If you are sewing a tube and you don't measure your upper bust measurement tight, you don't tighten it like this, it will give you problem. Whether the person wants to bend down, they will be seeing the cleavage. You understand? Your tube has to be tight. This is the upper bust measurement. We also have the bust measurement. You make sure all these measurements, make sure you are looking at the way the tape rule is at the back. Are you seeing it? You see? So you move it. Make sure at least one of your fingers is moving. You know, there are some people that will tell you that they don't want it fitted. When you are measuring them, just be telling you, Mommy, I'm not worried. I shall just measure normal measurement. If I fair wrong, my body lose it. Mama be say, are you getting me? I wasn't tight to you, Mommy. Don't worry, ma. Bust measurement. You put your tape round like this, and you make sure at least one finger enters. Why? If you don't do that, you will see when the person comes to fit it would have pressed the bust, the chest. You understand? So that is why you have to make sure 1 inch of your finger enters the bust measurement. But for the waist, you don't need to put 1 inch of your finger. See, just measure the waist like this. Ask the person, have you eaten? So you ask the person, have you eaten? Are you getting me? Make sure, if the person said he has not eaten, some people they want to measure. I will tell them, breathe out. Don't mind them, they'll breathe out. Yeah, you know what? Oh, they want me. They want me. Yeah, it's true. So, you know, you tell them, have you eaten? If they've not eaten, you add. If they've not eaten, you add allowance that way. They want to go to the park so that they will sit comfortably. Are you getting it? So you just make sure your hand enters like this. You can just hold the person like this and move your tape. Just put your hand there and move your tape like this. Are you getting it? You move your tape like this. That is for the waist. You also have the round bust measurement. You take your tape rule like this, you measure it. You know we have under bust, the under bust length measurement. So from here is where you measure the round tape round here. You make sure it is firm. Are you getting it? For the off shoulder, you make sure it is firm. For your hip measurement, you take your tape round the hip. Make sure it lays on top of your hip. And when it lays on top of your hip, move it downward and move it upward. Are you getting it? So for your thigh also, you can just tell your customer to just open their legs a little bit. Can you open your legs? It's too fitted. So you can just tell your client to open their legs a little bit. Then you take the tape round. You see the way I'm raising it up? You raise it up towards the hip side. You understand? And measure the thigh measurement. Because if you take it like this, it won't be firm. Are you getting me? If you take it like this, it won't be firm. So that's that about the thigh. We also have the down part of our trousers, which we call bottom. Just take your tape like this. You measure it. And when you are taking this circumference, make sure you take it like this, as if you want to off the person's shoe. You understand? Because if you take your curve here, if you take it too tight, if they want to off it, the trouser will tear, especially if it is Ankara. But if it is stretchy fabric, you can use it like that. So you just take it like this. Then you do as if you want to curve. Raise your leg. So you just take it and see it is firm. So hers now is 13. Are you getting me? So that's the way you measure. So thank you very much. Thanks for your time. Oh, I really appreciate it. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. Hope I've been able to give a good value. Thank you.